Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, getting ready to start my day. And you know what I thought was interesting, one of the few perks from yesterday's DEXA scan, because I wasn't happy with everything there. I mean, did my health improve? Yeah. Am I more fit as a result? I mean, I lost body fat, I lost visceral fat. I balanced out a lot of my left to right muscle imbalances because those were pretty big, and I cut those imbalances on average overall in half as far as the difference in muscle size on my left arm, left leg, right leg, left side of my torso, right side of my torso. Some improved a lot more than others, but I brought in those imbalances a lot. So if we're looking at stuff from an injury perspective, a health perspective, it was a success. My overall improvement in body composition was below what I set for myself, right? It was below what I set for myself, and I'm not happy about that, and I'm going to have to make some adjustments to improve from there. But what was interesting to me was the change in overall arm mass. My net gain, even though I lost 9 pounds of body weight, even though I lost muscle mass, I had a net loss of muscle mass. Not necessarily muscle, but lean body mass. And that can include a lot of things, not necessarily just tissue protein. And that's what people need to remember there. There can be glycogen storage, there can be connective tissue through your body fat. You tend to lose lean body mass when you lose fat no matter what. But I thought it was excessive. So that being said, I probably lost muscle, but I gained net muscle in my arms, which was interesting to me considering I lost quite a bit in my legs. And what did we see there? Even though I did a little more squat volume than I had been doing, the weight on the bar decreased, right? The weight went down, and I added cardio in. And the less cardio, and I've had multiple coaches look at it and say, yeah, I really should be doing more squat volume to retain leg mass and cut that cardio out. The less cardio is not good. And I can't really do HIIT if I'm going to squat at the frequency I'm doing, so I just need to squat more. But I lost leg mass, but gained arm mass. Now, this is anecdote, and I'm not saying this is going to be true for everyone regarding exercise selection. And that's what people need to understand. This is just an N equals 1. Just me as an individual case study. I'm someone who a lot of people have said over the years, my arm development is not that great, and it doesn't matter how much isolation work I've done for my arms. People were saying that when I was doing 15 sets of curls and 15 sets of tricep extensions every week and isolating nothing else in my entire body, doing nothing but barbell work for the rest of my body. Squats, bench, deadlift, rows, all that stuff, right? That's all I was doing. Big compounds for everything else and isolating my arms. You know what people always say, you really need to work on your arms more. They would always say that. I'm not a bodybuilder, but that's what people would say. In recent months, people noted that my arms looked bigger since I've been doing this stuff between the DEXA scans. They're saying your arms look bigger. Well, they are bigger. Now, I don't know what that equals in terms of measurements because I didn't get a before and after measurement. Really have no clue and don't really particularly care. But it was interesting that people noted that my arms looked bigger. The DEXA scan shows that I lost muscle in other places, but my arms did gain muscle. The DEXA scan picked it up, particularly my left one, my old injured one, which I had a couple of issues with it, all related to an initial bicep tear. Then an infection getting in the arm and some necrotic tissue having to be removed from the bicep. I've always had a problem with this side. So much so that according to the first DEXA scan, it was 1.7 pounds less muscle in my left arm than my right. Think about what 1.7 pounds of meat looks like when you go to buy meat. That's how much difference there was. Now it's saying there's down to 0.2. I gained a lot of muscle in my left arm. I think more of it has been tricep. And I really wish that the DEXA could do a breakdown of that better, but it can't because it's done from the front with you laying down. It can't differentiate between tricep and bicep when they're laying on top of each other. It's not set up to do that because it's scanning through both. It's just detecting the amount of muscle versus bone versus fat in that area. But it was interesting to me that all I've really done was a lot more bench volume. My bench press went up. Now, I lost a small amount of muscle in my torso. My balance is shifted, though. That's what people need to remember. All of my loss was on the dominant side. So I've rebalanced because I had a big imbalance there due to, again, the old injury and always pulling mixed grip. I had an imbalance in my torso that was one of the biggest they'd ever seen. So I lost a small amount of torso mass. Now, we don't know how much was back versus chest, but what's interesting, my bench press went up 20 pounds, and I increased my bench press volume. So the lift that I went up on the most was my bench press during that. My squat went down, and I lost leg mass. My bench went up, and I gained arm mass. Really, all I had been doing for the last couple of months for arms has been what? Fair amount of bench volume, because I've been doing back off sets every day. So I was benching to a training max 5 days a week and then doing 3 back off sets with slightly lighter weight for triples. And that might not sound like a lot till you realize that's 15 back off sets every week plus 5 training maxes. Even though they're low reps, that's technically 20 work sets. That's my tricep work. And then 1 day a week I was doing a little bit of overhead pressing. And I've been doing dead hang pull-ups every day. My arms grew. Now, again, we don't know how much was tricep versus bicep, but it's interesting to me that these two exercises, which we don't think of from a biomechanics perspective as the best arm exercises. I don't think anyone out there thinks that the pronated grip, shoulder grip pull-up is the greatest bicep exercise ever, right? I don't think anyone's advocating that. Now, my bench press is closed grip, but it's, again, the closed grip works the chest pretty hard. It's not like it's a tricep exercise. It really isn't, contrary to what bodybuilders think. And a lot of people would argue even on EMGs, there are other exercises that work the triceps a lot more. But I guess the thing to note here is the overall amount of volume. I've been doing at least 1 set of dead hang pull-ups every day. Some days 2 sets. So we're looking at somewhere between 6 to 12 sets of that every single week. Close to failure, right? And from a dead hang. Well, that dead hang position, the dead hang position does put more stretch on the bicep. And I've noticed that I get a very serious pump in my biceps doing them. I feel the pull-up more in my biceps and my chest than I do my lats, but I don't feel anything in my lats. I've never felt a lat exercise in my lats, and I still have a really wide back. I don't feel it work at all. So I feel, actually, the only exercise I really feel my lats on is my bench press. That's about it. I feel that they're more. I feel that more than I do rows, more than I do pull-ups. Even squeezing a lat pull down for a 1 count at the bottom, I feel it. A bench press, I feel it more in my lats than even that stuff. I always have. So, what's interesting to me though is those 2 exercises managed to put muscle on my arms, probably because of a substantial amount of volume and then having progressive overload present. 20 pounds increase on my bench and more bench volume equaled more arm growth for me. And we can't say that's not what caused arm growth, because what in the hell else caused it? I clearly haven't been blasting a bunch of gear because I lost muscle in my torso. I lost muscle in my legs while lifting weights. All right, that's not a sign of gear use, so why would gear cause my arms to grow and not those to grow? So that's clearly not the answer. I haven't been doing arm isolation work. I'm doing face pulls too. So, I mean, if we add the face pulls in, that's more bicep volume. But I don't think any of us think face pulls with bands are going to grow big biceps, right? So we're stuck with these 2 exercises. And what did I find? That doing a reasonable amount of volume, at least 10 work sets every week with progressive overload and challenging weights on those 2 exercises produced measurable arm growth that the DEXA scan picked up. It was very substantial, particularly the left arm. I gained over 1 pound of muscle in my left arm, in my imbalanced one, in 3 months. So I've got to conclude what I've said before, guys, something I've been saying all along, that these big compound movements, if volume is sufficient, if they're taken through a full range of motion, will grow muscles like your biceps. They'll grow muscles like your biceps. Now, they may not give you the absolute maximum 100% of your possible growth. I'm not saying that because we don't have a comparison for me, do we? We don't know that I wouldn't have gained 0.1 pounds more muscle or 1% more muscle growth had I done curls and tricep extensions at the end on top of that. We don't know that I wouldn't have, right? So we can't say that. We just have my one little data point. But my one little data point is kind of going along with what I've been saying about a lot of these exercises all along. These big compound movements, when taken through a full range of motion, and if you try to lift as explosively as possible, tend to recruit all of these various muscles about as much as you can really do. and that oftentimes your weak points can come up purely as a result of doing that, because your body will balance out what it needs to balance out to continue to handle the workload that you're producing. It's going to grow according to the stimulation that you give it. And oftentimes the weak link in a big exercise is taking a larger brunt of the load. That's why it's the weak link. And the weakest link sometimes does get a lot of growth stimulation as a result of it. And in this case, my arms grew, but my overall trunk lost a little bit of muscle. But my arms gained measurable amount. It wasn't an insignificant amount. It wasn't just like a couple ounces. And again, people had noticed my arms really bigger. And I'm not saying I have great arms. Not saying that. I don't think anyone thinks that, including me. But they grew, and they grew from basically paused medium to close grip bench press and dead hang overhand grip pull-ups. That's what I've been doing 5-6 days a week. My arms grew. My arms grew. And there's something to be said for that. Again, it happened. It happened. I have pretty hard evidence that it did, and you guys see how I train. And I'm not pimping that. I'm not selling that. I don't think I've ever told anyone that the overhand grip pull-up is the greatest bicep exercise ever. I've never said that. I still don't say that. But I saw a measurable arm growth without blasting anabolics, while losing 9 pounds of body weight and losing muscle. So it is what it is, guys. Although I think the other take home here is that we learned that cardio, and the same thing they told me at the DEXA scan place. They told me the same thing. They looked at it and said, yeah, your cardio probably cost you leg muscle the way you did it. 2 other coaches have looked at it and talked with me and agreed on that as well. So, interesting. In other words, what do we find? Volume with big compound movements build muscles. Low volume plus cardio equals muscle loss. I mean, that's the take home from this so far. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.